Trump's renewed his attacks on the World Health Organization, threatening to cut US funding for good. He's written to the head of the UN's health agency with a 30-day ultimatum now to make big changes or permanently lose the United States membership. Trump accuses the WHO of mishandling the coronavirus outbreak and kowtowing to China.
They're a puppet of China. They're China-centric, to put it nicer, but they're a puppet of China. We help fund the World Health Organization. We use it like everyone else does. They gave us a lot of very bad advice, terrible advice. They were wrong so much, always on the side of China. China paid $40 million last year, and we've been paying $450 million a year for many years. Somehow that doesn't work out too well.
Well, Trump says the WHO had made several inaccurate and misleading claims about the coronavirus and accuses the agency of simply moving too slowly. He described his letter as self-explanatory, although it doesn't specify what the agency has to do to maintain White House funding. The letter just calls for the WHO to demonstrate independence from China. More than 100 countries are calling for a probe into the WHO's coronavirus response. An update on that next, then, from RT's Peter Oliver.
Well, this is all taking place against the backdrop of the 73rd United Nations Health Assembly taking place, perhaps the most important one of those gatherings, albeit even if this one is taking place virtually, that there's ever been on a global stage. And while it would seem like the perfect opportunity for nations to come together and work collectively to try and establish a vaccine to get aid to those nations that need it most, what it's been used for, what this platform has been used for by the United States, is an opportunity to point the finger of blame firmly at the World Health Organization and accuse them of essentially letting this crisis spin out of control.
There was a failure by this organization to obtain the information that the world needed, and that failure cost many lives. In an apparent attempt to conceal this outbreak, at least one member state made a mockery of their transparency obligations, with tremendous cost for the entire world.
The US president has suspended funding for the World Health Organization amid this pandemic. His critics say that he's using them essentially as a scapegoat for his own administration's failings in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, saying that if you look at the United States having the highest number of cases around the world, the highest number of fatalities as well, and also looking at the spiraling unemployment figures in the United States. China, for their part, and the World Health Organization have denied vehemently these claims that have been made against them by the United States. From Beijing's point of view, they've pledged money to countries that have been hardest hit by the coronavirus. They've also sent doctors and aid to Africa and other developing nations.
China will provide $2 billion over 2 years to help with the COVID-19 response and with economic and social development in affected countries, especially developing countries.
Well, the World Health Organization has said that there will be an independent inquiry into how they responded to the COVID crisis. Their Director General says that, yes, there were some things that slipped through the net, but that they've learned from them, and he stood vehemently behind his organization, while there's also been calls for unity and a unified approach to fighting the virus from two of Europe's heaviest hitters.
Only if we join forces will we beat this pandemic, and we need the WHO because of its irreplaceable coordinating role. Here we have the opportunity to provide a unified response to the pandemic that is free of complacency and unfounded accusations.
No country can solve this problem alone. We must work together.
The WHO is irreplaceable. It needs enhanced resources, particularly to provide support to developing countries, which must be our greatest concern. We are as strong as the weakest health systems.
Well, the World Health Assembly continues on Tuesday, and we'll be looking for more of that unified approach to fighting the virus and less of the finger pointing that we saw on Monday.